the legitimacy of the European Union. So I try my best.
I'll give the floor to Frances Fitzgerald.
Designated, I'm delighted to hear your commitment to gender issues today, and indeed the focus it's got at the committee here today. We know that Europe and the world will not reach the 2030 agenda goals, and particularly climate goals, without significant financial investment. Experience from the small island developing states is showing us that the private sector can play a significant role building climate resilience in economic development and in post-disaster recovery as well. And how can the European Union support, focus most effectively on the vulnerable and leveraging the support of others, particularly in the private sector as well as the public, of course building in appropriate standards, to effectively support both development and climate solutions, especially related to clean energy transitions?
Commissioner-Designate.
I think it was important what you said about least development countries, and of course that will be our priority. We need to support those countries which are least developed countries. But at the same time, I want to raise another aspect, because we know that more and more countries are middle-income countries, which is, of course, good because we can see the development they have or improvement they have done. And unfortunately, in many middle-income countries, inequality is very high. So, from that perspective, my personal commitment will be to fight against inequalities, because I think this is a huge challenge, not only the middle-income countries, but also in almost in every European Union member states. So this will be the guiding principles for me, that we are able to fight against inequality in different kind of with different kind of tools. What comes to the role of the private sector, I fully agree with you that we need to have private sector involved, and we already have different kind of measures for that. We have, of course, blending. We have other tools as well, and I think that in the future we need to have multiple equipments in a way that so we have different kind of tools to be able to use. But without the participation of private sector, we are not able to achieve sustainable development goals. I think it's quite honest to say that. And of course, from that perspective, it's necessary to have a strong commitment also from the private sector that this is a common approach, and they will be part of our partnership.
Follow-up?
Of course, I agree with you about fighting inequalities and using every tool available to us. But clearly climate change, if it's not handled properly and we don't deal with the challenges, is going to lead to even greater inequality. So a specific question, the UN has said it's very disappointed on the whole question of the funding that's currently available for the Sustainable Development Goals. So what would you do in particular to develop cooperation and synergies between the public and the private sector? As I said already, building in very clear human rights standards. But the level of investment right now is very, very low.
Commissioner-Designate.
I fully agree with you regarding climate change. And I think this we have been talking about a lot about Green Deal, and I think it's one of the examples of the commitment of a future college relating to climate change. And I also I see that the alliance initiative made by President Juncker, it was a good start. How to get more private investments to the, for instance, to Africa. So we don't need to begin from the beginning. we have good examples. We have already achieved good results. So my duty, of course, is try to look for new initiatives, how to get more private investments to Africa, for instance. And I'm ready, of course, to do that.